Welcome to Soul-Led Creative Women, the podcast for heart-centered creative women who are ready to reclaim their spark and live with deeper meaning, authenticity, and soul. So today I have Kerry Blaser with me. Kerry is a newly published author of My Inner Heroine, Exploring Feminine Pain. She invites readers into a deeply personal journey, sharing her experiences with healing, trauma, and the reclamation of feminine identity. This book is not just a memoir, it's an exploration of the complexities and intricacies of womanhood, the overall impact of emotional pain, and the transformative power of self-love, all of which were written from the heart. So welcome, Kerry.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about the process of writing my book and how that helped me heal. It's the only podcast that has asked me this of me, so I'm excited.
Awesome. That's so good. Yeah. So today we're going to focus on leaning into creativity and writing your book,
Yeah.
and how that's helped you unveil your deepest personal truths. So let's start with
Yeah.
your story, Kerry. Tell us all about your healing and transformation journey and how creativity and writing a book has guided you.
So I had quite a traumatic childhood, and my mom was an alcoholic. My dad was a workaholic. They got divorced right before I turned 6. And I was raised in an affluent town in Southern California, like 15 minutes from the Bachelor Mansion, like on a windy road. So like right next to where the Bachelor Mansion is the town that I grew up in. And I don't reveal it because the one person in the book is from my hometown, so I don't have permission to give that away. Um, so I learned what it meant to be, a woman who doesn't need a man because my mom modeled that for me. We're getting divorced. We don't need dad. Okay. And then my dad argued about paying child support in front of me before I was 10 years old. Well, they both did. They both argued. And so I internalized that I don't deserve for a man to provide for me. So that kind of, was in alignment with like, feminism. And then there was all the sexual promiscuity being promoted. And there I was, but I had rejected myself so completely because of my childhood trauma. Like there's a statue, and I don't know where it is, but it's about the parent grieving the loss of a child. And you see the head and the arms, and there's no center. And you just see the ocean through the center and then the legs. That was me my whole life. Like in middle school, I had one friend because I didn't know how to connect to people. It was that bad. So when I started high school, my one friend had moved. I didn't really have friends. And there I was faced with who I call my original hero in my book. He's ASB president. He's super good looking, all kinds of friends, varsity letterman, affluent family. And there I am living in an apartment, and I'd already had a job when I was 12. So, a lot happened between us, and I was never together with him. And I went on to college and got a master's degree in East Asian religious studies and traveled to China and met my ex-husband in Tibet. And we got married in 95 before I started graduate school. And then I had my first child in 97, had my son in 98, sorry. And that was kind of my life. And then I was married 10 years, but very traumatic marriage, and got divorced when I was 35. I'm 55 now. And then in my 40s, everything went downhill. Like I had 4 to 7 migraines per week.
Mm.
For 2 years, I could barely go in the sun because I was so sensitive to light. And I had to get purple like
Mm.
sunglasses so that I
Mm.
could go in the sun. And I have 3 kids. Like I couldn't go in the sun. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to parent, And I was on multiple medications like trazodone, Klonopin, Soma, Ambien, couldn't sleep, anxiety, depression, did not know how to solve my problems. So my mom helped. My mom's soul had a plan for her life. And 3 weeks before my mom passed away, I went to Florida where she was living, and I brought her back to California so that she could have her last days with her he's my stepfather, but they never got married. Problems. And then see my kids, potentially see my brother, see people. And she passed away on my 45th birthday. So our souls, part of my book is how our souls, our energy bodies, physicists have proven that we have energy bodies now, our souls plan our lives. for self-improvement opportunities based on our wounds and based on the laws of physics. So my mom passing away on that day, I knew that was special. I knew that meant something special. And that was the day my intuition told me it's time to accept my psychic gifts, stop acting like I'm not psychic, and process my childhood trauma. And so that's when it started 10 years ago. And that's kind of where the book starts. Yeah.
Awesome. So good. So some would say that, like the way you describe that light, with the purple glasses, needing the purple glasses, some would say that's because you couldn't face the truth, right? Like the
Yes.
light shining on the truth. So that's really
Yes.
powerful. I love the way you describe that.
I'm super sensitive. And so right now I am doing some other podcast with a therapist, and he specialized, not a psycho, he's not psycho, sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. And and I know everything happens for a reason, but we could talk about my viewpoint of some therapists, but okay. So but he does archetypes and astrology, and my north node is Pisces, which is the most sensitive sign, and I'm a Cancer. My birthday is June 25th. So that makes me so sensitive, but that's why I get so much information. That's why I'm so intuitive,
Mm,
because everything just opens. Like, okay, bring it all.
mm.
And then I have no boundaries because I have barely any fire in my chart. Super open,
Yeah.
born with no boundaries. I had to learn to forge my own fire. And there's a suicide attempt. So 6 years ago, I attempted
Okay.
suicide. And he's like, that's when you learn to forge your fire. I said, that is what I agree with. I agree with that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the pathway back. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
So lots to dive into here, Kerry. But first, let's
Yeah.
start with the creative angle. So tell us
Mm.
about, how you think creative expression has really specifically, supported that healing and transformation journey that you've been on to deal with all that trauma.
Oh, so much. Okay. So let's get in. I'm gonna a little bit about the book. So the book it starts 10 years ago, but a couple pages in, I get to the suicide attempt pretty quickly. And then there's about 2 years, and then I meet my first hero. And I call these men my heroes because they mirrored my wounds back to me.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
just to show me myself. So um and so there's six of them, and the number 2 and 3 are Justin Waller and Andrew Tate. Just kind of throwing that out there. Like, yes, Andrew Tate, I had a personal relationship with Justin Waller, and that started 2 months before Andrew's takedown started in August of 2022. And then I met two Fire Academy instructors at yoga, and I never went on a date with any of these men because it was like, I'm like, you don't have all those women over there. Yeah, I'm not. Let's heal. And but with the fire captain, the second Fire Academy instructor, he turned out to be married, and I needed to communicate. And communication, like opening my voice, has been so hard for me. And another podcaster pointed out, like, wow, there's seven of you, like the seven chakras. And Andrew
Mm.
Tate is number three.
Okay.
And then 2 years ago, his soul came through and told me, your voice is louder than mine. I'm like, okay, but throat chakra. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's cool. So, okay. So anyway, I had my first enlightenment experience. And then a few days later, Jim in the book, the fire captain, he tells me, and I've been texting like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? I need help. Da, 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 da. I'm married. Please don't text me anymore. I'm married. I'm like, I mean, I was quiet for 2 weeks. And if any married man knows anything about a woman, when she's upset and she's quiet, the longer she's quiet, the more difficult it's going to be. So I was intuitively so the words like oath of office, because sexual promiscuity destroys women's ability to pair bond as wives and mothers.
Hmm.
Firefighters have an oath of office, and they are on duty 24/7. So they're always in their oath. So you're hurting women sexually is not doing your job and destroying society, which you're here to protect. But they do that. I understand why they do that. And we can get into that if you want. But um, so oath of office, dereliction of duty, dean of public safety, because he's a fire academy instructor. He works for a community college, and there's a dean of public safety above him. And so, I was considering, writing something. And then I had sent him numerous emails to be like, what in the world? Like, I was upset. I needed to communicate. But the men I attract in my life have a very hard time with a woman's emotions, holding space, communicating, having difficult emotional conversations. It is not in their skill set
Hmm.
at all. They can have
Hmm.
sex, they know how to have sex. But beyond that, relationships are hard. And hard for me too. I had an equal amount of problems. So that's when it really started was this email.
Hmm.
And then I did two more medicine journeys because I've done several to help me. And then the book just came out of me last summer, the first edition of the
Okay.
book. That was, yeah.
So has the process then of writing this book, has it helped you to find ways to express yourself without needing that validation from another person?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Is that I had three rules when writing the book. I'm like, okay, I can just let it out, but the final version, I do not speak for these men. I speak for myself, and I will
Yes.
not disparage these men,
Yes.
you know?
It's
So
your
that
story. It's your owning your story. It's all
it's
about
me.
you. Mm. But it's kind
Yeah.
of like I teach my daughter this in the playground, like she's 13,
Yeah.
right? So, it's kind of like if someone upsets you, if someone does you wrong, like
Mhm.
the best thing you can do, if you can, is stand in your truth and tell them about how you feel, about your
Yeah.
experience. It's not about what they
Yeah.
did or who they
Right.
are or yeah. So
Right.
it's very powerful. Mm.
I had to go through that with my daughter this morning, my older daughter. Today she's starting college, she's stressed out. And so,
Yeah.
but this kind of blaming others
Yeah.
for our emotions is a huge problem worldwide. And then while writing the book, like I had 35 years of debilitating lower back pain.
Hmm.
It went away during my first conversation with the first hero because now I've learned to use my voice. And he was like,
Mm.
yeah. And so I learned. So then the back pain went away because that is me showing me that I don't value my femininity. In the womb creates human life. It fuels femininity, which fuels masculinity. It creates life. Like women, we channel life force energy, and then we're not valuing our wombs and we want to
Mm.
be like men. Like, and
Mm.
I get it. Like, I had to learn my own lessons on that front too. I'm 55, so I have some experience as a mother and a wife and
Mhm.
boyfriends. You know, when I learned to value myself, my healthy femininity came out and I just naturally became more traditional. It just
Mm.
came out of me.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think in our message exchange, you sort of said that writing your book has supported you to almost go deeper, in this quest to sort of
Yes.
unveil your most authentic voice. So tell us about, the creative process and how that really supported you while you were writing to get deeper and deeper into, yeah, your truth.
Well, edibles help me a lot.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I just sat in my recliner and I just spent all this time alone. And
Yeah.
I just would follow my intuition and just let it come out and then
Okay.
rewrite. And when I had to write that story about my lower back pain, I used to think that somehow Tim, I call him Tim in the book, did that to me, but that was me loving myself so much and being a strong feminine counterbalance. So I have my voice, but the voice is also for women, our voice is our protection as well. Like it used to be that if a mom had to come out in society and handle some business, handle some problems, back up because she's that upset. But
Mm.
as women, we got one chance. So I'm like, I got one chance at this book. I got to be authentic. I got to be real. If I'm going to bring Andrew Tate into my healing journey
Hmm.
and teach women that he triggers you, that triggers are my healing friend and not my
Hmm.
healing foe,
Hmm.
and that part of Andrew's soul's purpose is to trigger a fear of men and a fear of being sexually assaulted
Hmm.
in both sexes. And my book comes along and is the tool to heal from
hmm
those wounds.
hmm
He didn't create those wounds, but he's triggering those wounds, and that's a healer. Now, a lot
mm.
of people don't want to see him that way, and I get it, but that's where my book is special because I teach people how I use the wisdom. The universe is a mirror to show me myself.
So I believe that our creativity and our personal spiritual growth, they also operate, in duality and they reflect each other like a mirror. So have you
Mhm.
experienced this kind of mirroring between your creative growth as you've kind of stepped
Mhm.
into the power of writing your book and your spiritual or personal evolution? Have those two things been
Yeah.
mirroring each other as you've been going along your journey? Tell us
Oh,
about that.
So much. I mean, I had to own so many things. So if I had those rules, I can only speak for myself and I can't disparage these men.
Hmm.
Every problem I experienced is my fault, is
Yeah.
from one of my wounds. Now, of course, they have their own wounds, but I'm not
Mhm.
speaking for them. So that was like a boundary around myself that was
Mhm.
like sky Everest high and, core of the earth deep, right? That I had to,
Mhm.
because it's the only way. If I come out and start talking that I'm the victim, then I'm not modeling the wisdom that I downloaded, that our souls plan our lives based on the laws of
Yeah.
physics and our wounds. And so if I'm not owning it, how can I sell it?
So, what do you wish more women then knew about the power of creativity or writing for healing
Mhm.
trauma and stepping into your power?
Well, it's communication is feminine,
Hmm.
right? And a lot of women complain, well, there aren't a lot of female stories in the past. Well, I think there's not a lot of female stories because women share their heart and communicate with their family inside the home. We weren't out in society. So it makes sense to me that if men needed to take the wisdom that women downloaded through, because women are more connected, we're the channelers, we're the healers, and take that wisdom out into society and use it. Okay, great. But that wisdom's in my heart. So here's an example how I have that. So
Hmm.
I have a master's degree in East Asian religious studies, and I met some Buddhist nuns when I was studying in China as an undergraduate. And so we had an idea that if I went on to get a PhD, I could get more connected with the nuns and learn their wisdom because they're, secluded and they're not with the men and they're women, they're inside, right? What I learned was the wisdom that my professors at UCSB, so it's a stellar program, wanted me to learn was also inside my own heart. And that this wisdom, this universal wisdom that I downloaded, like monogamy is the path to enlightenment, I didn't create that. I didn't like think it up. I opened my heart, I downloaded the wisdom, and then I align appropriately. And of course, that came through to me because I'm facing all these red pill guys, right?
So, do you believe that we need to lean into deep, pure self love before we can
Yes.
wholeheartedly, unconditionally love other people?
Well, that's the thing. We can only meet others as deeply as we meet ourselves.
Yeah.
So when you don't love yourself, you don't have a full cup of love to pour from. And this is what's happening. This is what I realized. I call it the love hierarchy. So it's self-love,
Hmm.
partner love, child love, family love, community love. And when we act from a wound, we act from inverted wisdom.
Hmm.
So, love hierarchy inverted is community first. How many
Right.
social activists, 20-year-olds who have no idea how to solve a world problem, let alone their own problems? And my 23-year-old, my youngest daughter, is exactly like that. She's
Okay.
yelling at her dad over Palestine and Iran, and he's Israeli. Are we
Okay.
kid like she knows? No. But we're, colleges and high schools. Like I was empowered to call my grandpa a racist when I was 12, and that was 82. So we really got to think about what we're teaching our children about what is reality, what is healthy, how can we, create a healthy family, which is the bedrock of a stable society.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
we need and we need mothers for that. We need mothers to say no more.
Hmm.
I'm a mother. And as I introduced myself as a mother first. If I were a wife, I would say wife, mother, shaman, author in that order. And
Hmm.
we've lost that completely. And so we've lost ourselves.
So, how can people get to know you better, Kerry, and get a real feel for your book and all the work that you're doing?
Oh, I have my website is www.kerryblaser.com. And the current one I made, but I have a new PR manager. He's about to put up a new one, so it'll be more fancy. And he'll have like a press kit. I'm like, oh, I need a press kit. Okay.
Okay.
I'm like at home in my garage, like talking to Entertain Soul, like writing my book. Like, it's all dark in here, right? Like, I'm like, oh, there's an outside world. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I would say there. And then my book's on Amazon. You can
Okay.
find My Inner Heroine on Amazon. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today, Kerry.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so
Blessings.
much. Hey, Sam here. Thanks so much for listening to the end. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Join my free soul-led creative community and gain access to free guides and resources, plus exclusive events and workshops, all from within the members area. This is your chance to connect with me and other like-minded souls. Please head to samhorton.co/community. Take care.